Ba, 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 ba. What's up, guys? Okay. Where do I put this? What's up, Disney nerds? Today, it's May 4th. I'm recording this a little bit earlier before May 4th. We are going to be ranking all the Star Wars movies. We're going to be ranking all the Star Wars movies, including Solo, Rogue One, and of course, episodes 1 through 9. And without further ado, let's have a great May 4th, and let's get right into it. By the way, I had this Star Wars costume. I figured why not wear it. I also had this or Darth Vader. But I feel like we should go with the Stormtrooper because, quite frankly, look at the muscles on this bad boy. Oh yeah, so anyways, let's get into this. Starting off with number 11, we're going to go with Star Wars The Last Jedi. Watching this movie, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. For me, Star Wars The Last Jedi is one of the worst Star Wars. It's the worst Star Wars movie, if not one of my least favorite. It could be one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Now, I love Ryan. I love the director. He made Knives Out. And quite frankly, the director's amazing. And I love some of the visuals in this movie. But the storytelling, the plot, and just the sequels as a whole, I despise. I can't stand the sequels. I think that they're terrible. I don't like Rey as a character. I feel like what Disney did with Star Wars was terrible. And yet they can make Marvel great, but they just can't do Star Wars well, except somehow now with like TV shows. But like just The Last Jedi as a whole, I feel like they did Kylo Ren terrible. It's just, I don't know, there's just a lot of stuff bad with it. The acting abilities. Luke Skywalker's character in this takes a terrible toll, especially for his character development. What happens to Luke Skywalker in this movie? It's not great. I will say, Kylo Ren is probably the only good thing about this movie and the sequels as a whole, because I can't stand them. I'm a big believer in that the sequels are terrible. So yeah. 11th place, we're going Star Wars The Last Jedi. Going into 10th, we're going with Solo, coming in at a 5 out of 10. The problem with Solo for me is I feel like it's a little unnecessary. I think that they made Solo strictly because Disney Plus wasn't a thing yet. And they didn't have the ability to make it into a TV show. I believe that if Disney Plus was in existence when this movie came out, it would have been a TV show, just like how they're making Andor, The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian should be getting a movie over Solo. And like, the thing is, it's not Harrison Ford as Han Solo. It's Han Solo's origin story, which, I mean, it's somewhat good, but like, it's just boring. It's very in the middle. It's a little mid. So yeah, it's just a 5 out of 10. There's really no saving it. I mean, it's alright, but like, I feel like it's a little unnecessary, and like the story of Han Solo, I feel like it doesn't really need to be known. And that's like the problem with a lot of like these character shows or movies, like Boba Fett. Boba Fett's show, it was the worst Star Wars show that I've seen. Because why do we need to care? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't really need to know, you know? That's why it's kind of going towards 10th place. Alright, going into 9th place, I'm going to go with Star Wars Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones. It's just, it's going to be a 6 out of 10, I believe. If not, maybe a 5. Probably a 6. The acting's horrendous. Oh my gosh, guys. The acting in this is absolutely horrendous. It's just so corny. But I do love the dynamic between Anakin and Padme in this. But like, it's so corny and it's so cringy to watch. And a lot of the scenes in this episode are very hard to see because they're just very cringy. The dialogue's terrible in this movie. The acting's horrendous. Needless to say, though, the visuals aren't terrible. They're all right compared to like episode 1 or episode 3. This is probably the worst of the prequels. And a lot of people say this is their least favorite Star Wars movie. I'm a big fan of the prequels trilogy, and I don't know. I think that saves it a little bit, especially with the Clone Wars. It saves a little bit of Attack of the Clones. But needless to say, Attack of the Clones isn't great. But I will say Obi-Wan Kenobi's storyline in this movie is pretty good. Him going with the clones, trying to figure out that whole situation is amazing. It's just Anakin and Padme's storyline in this is kind of... In 8th place, coming in at a 6 out of 10, we got Star Wars The Rise of the Skywalker. The last movie of the franchise, which sadly isn't at all the greatest, and a lot of people say it's the worst. But for me, it does have some redeeming arcs to it. There's a lot that's bad about it. I will say Rey as a character is just horrendous. Guys, I just came out of the shower and my hair is not cooperating with me, so deal with it, okay? And this thing's falling off, so I don't care anymore. It's not. Okay, stay back on there. Good. Okay, so I do think that Kylo Ren is kind of a redeeming arc within this movie. He is awesome, and Kylo Ren as a character is great. I just wish they did more with his character instead of kind of just what they did in the movie. Because I feel like what they did in the movie was very predictable. Everyone saw it coming. But you know what? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, I don't know about this movie. Like, the cinematography is great. The visuals are amazing. But the plot twist that they try to throw at you with Rey and Palpatine, it makes no sense at all. It's the most stupidest thing. The fact Palpatine is still alive in this movie really makes me mad. Watching this for the first time, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How is this dude still alive? Absolutely no. It makes no sense. And the fact that they tried to do what they did with Rey and Palpatine, I wish they just did Kylo Ren or something. Like, I wish they made Rey a bad person. Like, they had so much potential for what they could have done, especially if George Lucas was still in charge of the sequel trilogy instead of Disney. They could have done so much better with it. However, I am glad that that's my only problem. I am glad that Disney bought the rights because we got Star Wars Land in Disney World, or Galaxy's Edge, and like all this Star Wars stuff in Disney World. And that's why I got like a lot of my memorabilia for Star Wars. And like I'm so glad that Disney has Star Wars in the parks, but like movie-wise and like there's just nothing going for Star Wars anymore. Let's be real here. 7th place, we're gonna go with Star Wars The Force Awakens, episode 7, I think. Episode 7. It's gonna be a 7 out of 10. Look, this is probably the only decent. It's good. It's a 7 out of 10. Of course, it's gonna be good, but like it's the only good movie of the sequels. Oh my gosh, would you just stay? Would you stay? Chill. Okay. Because the sequels as a whole, they suck. They're terrible. They're awful movies. But this one's, it's not terrible. It's not horrendous. I do like Kylo Ren's introduction. I like Han Solo in here. But you know, it's good, and then Rey's all right. I mean, I like I will say the visuals in this movie are the best of the trilogy of the sequels. But like, there's just really nothing. Again, I don't know. The sequels just don't do it for me, especially with that one guy. I can't even forget his name, but he just screams Rey every 5 seconds, and I want to punch him in his face. He's the most. You know what sucks for him too? The actor who plays that man loves Star Wars, and he had so much potential. He could have been such a good Jedi. I wish George Lucas was in charge of the sequels because Disney does not know how to manage Star Wars. And I'm Disney nerd for life here, but man, still mad about that. Into 6th place, we're taking a big jump here. We're going with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Actually, just came back from seeing that today. It is May 3rd currently right now, but this is getting released for May 4th. And, you know, I never understood why people didn't like this movie. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I'm sorry. I love this movie. I think it's great. I think watching it in theaters also, especially, is fantastic. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I will say the only negatives I have for this movie are, like, Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is one of the most mascotted characters that George Lucas just tried to get money for, and I don't blame him. He did it with the Ewoks and it worked. He did it with Baby Yoda. Disney did it with Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda worked. They just tried to do it with this character, but this character is just such like a pick-me. It's terrible. It's horrendous. It's so thrown in your face. I hate Jar Jar Binks. The actor, I have no shame against him, and I hate how the Star Wars community blames the actor for Jar Jar Binks, and same with young Anakin. And quite frankly, young Anakin, I love. I think he's great. There's so many quotes in this movie that I love, like "Now this is pod racing" is an iconic quote, and just them playing the Imperial March at the end, but like ramped up at the end. Such great foreshadowing for that, especially like when like they tease you going with like Yoda saying, "There's something that worries me about him," and then plays like the Imperial March. Great foreshadowing about this movie. We're just letting it go at this point. I don't care. But like it's great. I love how they foreshadow this movie. It's so fantastic, and the visuals are amazing. The score. This Duel of Fates is easily the best Star Wars theme song ever. There's no Star Wars theme song that's better than Duel of Fates, and you can fight me on that. In 5th place, we're going with Rogue One, coming in at a 9 out of 10. Rogue One, I love, and I thought watching it, I was like, all right, it's another like spin-off. No, it's new, it's fresh, it's like, it's original, and like it's like that's what I want Star Wars to be now. Like there's so much to do in this universe, so much to do in this galaxy, yet you're focusing on so many, like you're focusing on the Skywalkers, you're focusing on like Boba Fett, focus on like people that like we don't really know, who are like on like the Death Star and stuff, or like want to fight the Death Star, that are just people in the war. And that's what's perfect about Rogue One. It's serious. It's like not like this sci-fi adventure that like is like all warm-hearted, and not all Star Wars is warm-hearted, but this takes it to a dark level. Seeing planets explode, what it's like for those people on those planets to explode, like on Andor, when you see or when you see Naboo explode, you don't know what it's like for Naboo, like what the people are like. This you do, like, and it's so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, and that's what's great about Gareth Edwards, I believe is the guy's name. He made The Creator. That's what I loved about The Creator too. It's very similar to Rogue One. Rogue One is great. 9 out of 10. I love it. And coming in 4th place, I'm going with Star Wars A New Hope. The original Star Wars. Look, it's fantastic. 10 out of 10. All these are 10 out of 10 now. The original series is a 10 out of 10. It's so amazing, guys. Like, I love it. For the time it came out too, it's fantastic. It's original. It's a Hollywood classic. The cinematography, acting, score, everything about it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's Star Wars. This is great. It's great. It's Star Wars. You can't get better than it. Coming in 3rd place. You guys might hate me for this, but I'm going with The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, that is not my number 1. I know everyone's going to say, oh my god, what? What? Is this man crazy? Yes, maybe. The Empire Strikes Back is really great, and I love it. It's iconic. It's amazing. The plot twist with hearing what happens, that iconic line that Darth Vader says, which I'm not going to say because there are some people watching this video that I'm introducing Star Wars to. They know who they are. And they never seen Star Wars, so they don't know what's going on in this. And I can't wait for them to watch Empire Strikes Back because of that plot twist, which is going to be great. Watching this movie, hearing that plot twist, imagine watching it for the first time. It's amazing. Cinematography is great. Again, score is fantastic. It's Star Wars. This is better than Star Wars. It's Star Wars on steroids. It's amazing. Coming in 2nd place, we're going with Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. 10 out of 10, of course. Revenge of the Sith is amazing. It's the highlight of Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme's story arc, and it's the best of the prequels, and it's what makes the prequels the best. That whole final fight scene, the cinematography, I keep saying cinematography, the battle scenes in this. The choreography of the fighting is fantastic in this, and it's the best it's ever going to be in Star Wars. Episode 3 is very cringy. It's like Spider-Man 3 when it comes to its memes abilities. It's so memeable, but it's so fantastic, and I love it. Nothing's going to beat Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, except for my number 1, which for me is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I think this movie's fantastic. I don't know about you guys. I love Ewoks. Return of the Jedi is amazing. Seeing Darth Vader's character arc in this is great. Darth Vader, like, his whole circle, basically. I'm trying to give this away without spoiling anything. His circle is fantastic, his character arc. It's great what they do in this, especially with Palpatine, with Darth Vader. Everything about it is, it's great. Luke Skywalker in this. Again, the final scene of what happens, this is so hard without giving anything away. And it's beautiful. Honestly, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and The Empire Strikes Back, for me, are all in my top 20 movies of all time. They're all 10 out of 10, and that's why I love Star Wars so much. Star Wars for me is always going to be a treasure for me and a place to call home, because it's so original, it's so unique, it's so beautiful, the way it's filmed, the score, the acting, the character development, there's nothing better. It's just breathtaking. I love Star Wars so much. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think is the best Star Wars movie. That is my ranking of the 11 Star Wars movies that I've seen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys have a great May 4th, and make sure you go watch your Star Wars out there, whatever one it be. And watch your favorite one, watch your least favorite one, because maybe they'll turn into your favorite one. If you like this video, make sure you like it. If you really like it, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see future reviews and rankings like this, make sure you ring that bell in the description down below, right there, right there. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Dish it out. Peace.